So it is time for another Green Bay Packers 7-round mock draft. This will be version 3.0, and man, it's going to be an interesting one. So I ended up skipping last week's mock draft because I figured it's right before the Combine. Let's let the Combine play out and then make another mock draft post-Combine. But the Combine isn't what's been interesting this week to us Packers fans. All reports coming out the past couple of days of a potential Aaron Rodgers trade to the New York Jets. The Jets front office flying out to California to meet with Aaron Rodgers. Today, Woody Johnson saying he thinks that meeting went well and they're optimistic on bringing Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets. And then just a few minutes ago on NFL Now from Tom Pelissero, it says the Jets have worked through the compensation end of the contract for Aaron Rodgers, and now they're just waiting for the Packers to hear back from Aaron Rodgers on what he wants to do. So it is seeming very, very likely that a trade with Aaron Rodgers to the New York Jets is going to happen. So my point is, in this mock draft, we will include a trade with Aaron Rodgers. And a lot of people wonder, what would the compensation be for Aaron Rodgers? There's reports saying the Jets might not need to give up a first-round selection, and there's also other reports from Pat McAfee, who says the Packers are at least looking for a first-round draft choice. So obviously, we don't know what the compensation is going to be if this trade actually goes down, but you would hope that the Green Bay Packers at least get the New York Jets' first overall pick in this year's draft. Pick 13, allow the Packers to have, 2 picks in the first round at 13 and 15 and really load up on some talent there in the middle of the first round. So again, we don't know what exactly the compensation is going to be, but for this sake, I'm going to include pick 13. If we bring up the draft screen here, I'm going to include pick 13. We're trading away Aaron Rodgers. What else they get on top of this, I'm not sure. I don't think it would be, say, a first, a second, and then something else as well. I just don't think it's going to be that much. But for this sake, we're going to go with pick 13. I'm going to swap 74 and 78. So we're going to move up 4 spots there in the 3rd round. And we're also going to add in a 2nd round next year. Now, that could be a 3rd round. It could be a conditional pick. Obviously, the next year doesn't really matter in a mock draft. But for the sake of things, we're going to be getting pick 13. That's what I'm worried about. On top of that, I don't know what they could get, if they even get pick 13. But for this mock draft, that's what we're going to do. We're going to offer this trade. They're, of course, going to accept it because they pretty much accept anything for Aaron Rodgers on this mock draft simulator. So now the Packers, in this scenario, own pick 13 and pick 15. Now, you could definitely package that up and trade with, say, the Seahawks if Will Anderson fell to 5. I don't think he will. I think Jalen Carter is a player that might end up falling. You could also get someone like Tyree Wilson or Myles Murphy if they're on the board there. But I think I'm going to stick around with 3 and 15 just because this is so hot off the press. I feel like I should keep the New York Jets pick there at 13. Let me know down in the comments below if you want me to do one where I package these picks and see how far we could get up and what type of player we could get there. Just let me know down below. And of course, if a trade is agreed upon and we get the compensation, I'll make a mock draft right after that with those exact picks. All right, so to quickly go over the picks before our pick at pick 13, Jalen Carter at number 1, Bryce Young at 2, Will Anderson at 3, CJ Stroud at 4, Myles Murphy at 5, Tyree Wilson at 6 to the Lions, Anthony Richardson to the Raiders there, Quentin Johnston to the Falcons, Will Levis to the Panthers, Devin Witherspoon to the Eagles, Christian Gonzalez to the Titans, and Jackson Smith and Jigba at 12 to the Texans. So now we are sitting here at pick 13, that original Jets pick. Peter Skoronski's on the board, who said he would love to be a Green Bay Packer, and the Packers could very well draft him here at 13. Kalijah Kancey, who a lot of people are comparing to Aaron Donald just because he's short and from Pittsburgh. He did have a great combine. I'm not denying that, but it seems like they're just doing that just because he's a shorter defensive lineman and from Pittsburgh. I think he's going to be a great player, but to compare it to someone like Aaron Donald, I think is a little crazy. Brian Branch is available here. Another player that I kind of went away from for a while, but I feel like is growing on me again. I think the Packers could do so much with him in their defense. I think he'd be a very fun player, and I think I went away from him because he's not like a true deep safety, and that's what the Packers need. But there's a lot better free agents like Jesse Bates, other guys in the free agent pool that they could get as like a true deep guy, and then have Brian Branch as this jack of all trades guy, kind of similar to Micah Hyde they had back in the day when they didn't use him correctly. So Brian Branch is very, very intriguing. Lucas Van Ness, another player I really like. We still pick at pick 15, so we can maybe draft him there. Deonte Banks flying up boards for another cornerback there. Nolan Smith, I expect him to go way before his rank at 21. So if he's there at 15, maybe I'll try to trade down and grab him, but I wouldn't be mad at picking him at 15. But the player, like I said, that I'm looking for right now, I think it's going to be Brian Branch. If we look here at the description, don't think this is as a 4-spot tumble down the PFF board. Rather, he's just been overtaken by other special performers at the Combine. Branch may not be special in the speed department, ran a 4.58 40, 40, but that speed is more than adequate in the slot. They say his role's in the slot, so the Packers could use him in many different ways, and if they wanted to move Rasul Douglas back to safety, they could do that as well, but he could play safety as well. Extremely high football IQ. I think Brian Branch would be excellent in the Packers defense, and they just need, in general, defensive backs and safeties and guys that can play the slot. They're really missing that guy. So Brian Branch, an 89.5 grade last year, an 86.4 coverage, 90.7 run defense grade. He could help against the run, only a 3.3 missed tackle rate. The dude doesn't miss tackles, which is great. 15.8 forced incompletion rate. He's a really good player, and I definitely see him going in the top, 13, 15 pick. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to draft Brian Branch, safety / slot, out of Alabama here at pick 13. Not to mention the Packers have met with him, so it's clear that they are interested in the thought of him being there when they select and getting him on their defense. So at pick 15, Skoronski went at 14. Kansas still on the board, Lucas Van Ness. I'm really eyeing to get someone like Nolan Smith here, or he could even drop down and get someone like Jordan Addison if we wanted a wide receiver here. So I think I might try to trade here, and I'm going to try to do that trade with the Jacksonville Jaguars at pick 24. So we are dropping a decent bit here, but there's a lot of talent there on the back end. We already got Brian Branch on defense here, so we're trading pick 20. They're trading pick 24, 56, and 127. We're giving 15 and 151. If we go ahead and send that trade, it will be accepted. So we do go down a bit from 15 all the way to 24, but there's still, like I said, there's still a ton of talent right in that area there that I think we can still add, and then we're picking up more picks in the draft as well. So the picks following the trade with the Jaguars, they traded up, got Kalijah Kancey. That would be excellent for them in my opinion. Broderick Jones to the Commanders here, Jordan Addison to the Steelers, Joey Porter Jr. to the Lions, Lucas Van Ness to the Bucks, Brian Brzee to the Seahawks, Paris Johnson Jr. to the Chargers, Deontay Banks to the Ravens, Zay Flowers to the Vikings. So we're on the board here again at 24. Players on the board: Dalton Kincaid, Nolan Smith, Anton Harrison, Bijan Robinson, Michael Mayer, Will McDonald, DeJuan Jones. But for me, this is a run the card up situation, and that's going to be for Nolan Smith. I mean, it's the Packers. If they have a chance to draft a Georgia defender in the first round, they're going to do it, and this is the guy they should do it with. He blew up at the combine. Smith had himself an all-time combine performance that looked more like a wide receiver's than an edge rusher's. At 6'2", 238 pounds, Smith ran a 4.39 40 and recorded a 41.5-inch vertical and a 10'8" broad jump. That'll lock him into the first round. So absolutely ridiculous combine. And I think getting him in this building, in that edge room, to pair with guys like Rashawn Gary when he's healthy, Preston Smith, and Kingsley Enagbare, that would just perfectly round out that edge room. And this dude could be, used as a certified just pass rusher the first season, but he'll be way better than that. I really like him. It's not just the Georgia thing. I like him in general. And if he's here at pick 24 after trading down out of 15, I think you run that card up and you get two really, really good defenders in the first round with Nolan Smith and Brian Branch. So with this pick, I am drafting Nolan Smith, edge out of Georgia at 24. Here at pick 45, we are back on the board. A lot of good players on the board as well, like Inaduke Ozoma, who, if I didn't draft Nolan Smith, I would love him here at pick 45. I'm very tempted to get him as well and just really load up that edge room, but I don't think I'm going to. So here at pick 45, a lot of good players on the board, but I just scroll down a bit because I know he's going to go in the next few picks, and that is Darnell Washington. Been flying up boards, obviously, since that combine. I know a lot of people like him at tight end, and I feel like after Mayer, Musgrave, and Kincaid go, he is the next best guy. Some people have Laporta over him. I have Darnell Washington. I mean, what you saw him do to that sled in the combine, absolutely ridiculous. This guy in the blocking game, the receiving game, he had a nice one-handed catch that was actually thrown by Kurt Benkert, and we've talked about him many times. As you see here, a 6'7", 270-pound tight end. What's his role? Inline tight end, but he can also, he can affect you vertically. He's not going to be a take the top off the defense type of guy, but he can win contested catches. If we go to his stats here, an 85.7 overall grade in 2022, an 81.3 run block grade, 1.77 yards per route run. He had 28 receptions, 454 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think the Packers need to grab a couple tight ends in this draft, and I think getting someone like Darnell Washington here, I think would be a really, really good snag. And hey, he's from Georgia yet again. The Packers love their Bulldogs. So in this second round, we have another pick at pick 56, so I'm going to address a little bit of the offensive side here, get the Packers a nice inline tight end that can, threaten linebackers in the receiving game as well, and get Jordan Love a big target like Darnell Washington. So that's my pick here at 45, Darnell Washington, tight end out of Georgia. Here at pick 56, another pick in the second round, I'm going to trade down to 65, and I know trading down into the third round, and the Packers should just get rid of the third round picks. But hey, I'm the GM in this situation. I'm doing the mock draft, so I believe I can select good players in the third round. Plus, there's a lot of players on the board, and I feel like I'd be really reaching for some of the ones I like here at 56. So we're going to try to pick up another pick from the Houston Texans. We're going to be swapping 56 and 65, and also picking up pick 104, giving them 237. So we go ahead and offer that trade. They will accept it. Let's get to our next pick. Now we are at our pick at pick 65. Of course, we just traded, and I'm looking at a wide receiver here, and I'm looking at Rasheed Rice. Getting another big physical wide receiver in this draft would be awesome in my opinion. A nice possession receiver, as it says here, where he wins ball skills, where he can improve his release package. And as we see here with his description, while Rice's high end is debatable, he has a high floor and is one of the more NFL-ready receivers in this class. I think that's what the Packers need. If they go on to Jordan Love, they need to have NFL-ready wide receivers, right? Christian Watson year 2, Romeo Doubs year 2. Rasheed Rice, a really NFL-ready rookie, and then likely, signing a veteran to bring into that room as well. I think that would be a nice wide receiver class to start off year 1 with Jordan Love. He had an 85.9 grade in 2022, 1,344 yards and 10 touchdowns this year. Had, a great red zone wide receiver as well, an 85.6 receiving grade, a 3.05 yards per route run. I do like Rasheed Rice a lot, especially if it's in the third round here. Like I said, adding another tall, physical possession wide receiver after they're likely going to lose Allen Lazard, I think would be a great add here at pick 65. So I'm going Rasheed Rice, wide receiver out of SMU. And we are right back on the board at pick 74. So all these trade downs, we're picking up a lot of middle round value here. And there's a lot of safeties on the board. And I know you might say you already drafted Brian Branch. Well, I'm going to team him up with his college teammate in Jordan Battle. I love this guy. And every mock draft, if he's there in the third round and I think we need him, I go and draft him because I think he is also a very, pro-ready player, just like Rasheed Rice. Great experience at safety. And the thing about him is he does have deep safety experience in Alabama. So Brian Branch was that move safety into the box, the slot, whereas Jordan Battle, was that deep safety. So the Packers need both of those guys. They do. And there's been talks of Darnell Savage even being included with the Aaron Rodgers trade to the Jets, just to dump off that contract. The Packers need safeties regardless. Even if they drafted both Battle and Branch, I think they should still sign a free agent if they don't bring back Ford and Adrian Amos. He had an 81.5 in 2022, an 88.0 in 2021. 85.2 coverage grade, 72.5 run defense grade, an 11.8 missed tackle rate. I really like Jordan Battle. I've talked about him in plenty of mock drafts before, so there's not too much more to say. So at pick 74, I'm going Jordan Battle, safety at Alabama. We are back on the clock at pick 104 in round 4, just the beginning of round 4. We also have another pick at 116 and 127. Hodges Tomlinson's here. He's an interesting prospect. He's just very small for cornerback, but he tested well at the combine, 5'9", 180 pounds. Jamie Robinson's still on the board, but hey, I think we're good at drafting safeties, at least maybe until the 7th round. Dwayne McBride, a running back I really like. Tank Bigsby, another running back I really like. Moro Ojomo, a nice defensive lineman. And then 2 really nice edge rushers here, Isaiah McGuire and KJ Henry. But I like KJ Henry more than McGuire here. I think they could still add another edge rusher on top of Nolan Smith. And KJ Henry, I think, would be a nice one to add here. Just you can never have enough guys to rush the passer. And I know this might sound redundant, drafting Henry right after Nolan Smith, or some rounds after Nolan Smith, but dude produced at Clemson. And honestly, he's overshadowed by Myles Murphy. He was really close to his level as well. An 84.0 pass rush grade, 90.3 true pass set pass rush grade, a 15.9% pass rush win rate, had 5 sacks each of last season. Like I said, adding Nolan Smith and KJ Henry into this edge room, I think would first really help you for the beginning of the year when Rashawn Gary most likely isn't going to be playing. But then when Rashawn Gary does come back, you're going to have tons and tons of talent in the edge room. And if you can get after the quarterback, your defense will succeed. So in pick 104 in round 4, we are going KJ Henry, edge out of Clemson. All right, so we are back on the clock at pick 116. Dwayne McBride, a running back I do like a lot. Also Deuce Vaughn, another running back I like a lot. Deuce Vaughn, more of that, receiving back. I think he would do really well in the Packers offense. I drafted him in one of my mock drafts, but I think I'm going to go Moro Ojomo here. I think I'm going to add a very, good scheme fit here. 3-4 defensive end. The Packers aren't going to bring back Dean Lowry. They might bring back Jaron Reed, but if they draft someone like Moro Ojomo, they're not going to need to. He's 3rd round status here, and getting him in the 4th round I think would be great. I really like him at 90.6 grade last year, 5 sacks If we look at his thing here, Ojomo is a little too limited to go early in the draft, but his next team will get high floor run defender wherever he comes off the board. And that's exactly what the Packers need. What's his role? A 3-4 defensive end where he wins consistency, and what he can improve on is pass rush moves. That's actually a surprise for me to read, considering he had 5 sacks last year with a 17.8 pass rush win rate and a 91.4 run defense grade. 6'3", 281 pounds. I think he fits right into that 3-4 defensive role, a 0 tech or 3 tech for the Green Bay Packers, and can help run defend. Like I said, the Packers losing Dean Lowry, Jarron Reed. They need to add a guy in this draft, and it's going to be Moro Ojomo here at pick 116 in the 4th round out of Texas. And we're back on the board at 127, and since I was talking about both of these running backs, I'm going to draft one of them. Deuce Vaughn is my guy over Dwayne McBride. The production is just there. I mean, it is. It's just there. And Deuce Vaughn, wonderful name, by the way. I said it last mock draft when I drafted him. Awesome running back name from Kansas State. Last time the Packers drafted someone at Kansas State, I believe it was Jordy Nelson. I don't think they drafted anyone in between from Kansas State. So that worked out pretty well. 1,561 yards this year, 1,409 rushing yards last year. 43 receptions this year for 373 yards, 49 receptions last year for 468 yards. I mean, this dude was the Kansas State offense. Deuce Vaughn was. 84.5 rushing grade. I'm not worried about his height and weight at all. 5'6", 176. I feel like that's overblown for running back. You have guys like Darren Sproles who made a killing in this league. Danny Woodhead. There's a ton of players. Just a receiving back type guy in general that can really, be dangerous towards the defense. And I think he'd be awesome in a Matt LaFleur offense. Obviously we have Aaron Jones and he's already kind of that receiving back, but I don't see him being here longer than next year afterwards. So they're going to need to add a guy that, can run, can be your third running back. They need a third running back, can be a receiver as well. And Deuce Vaughn's exactly that. So I picked 127. I'm going Deuce Vaughn, running back out of Kansas State. So I'm actually going to try to trade up into the top of the 5th round here at pick 139 with the Buffalo Bills, giving them 171, 234, and 259. So we go ahead and offer that trade. It is accepted. And with this pick, I'm going to get another receiver, and that's going to be Bryce Ford-Wheaton from West Virginia. I traded up for him. Only 62 receptions for 675 yards, 575 yards the year before that, 7 touchdowns this year, 3 touchdowns the year before that. But I'm mainly looking at his RAS. As we know, the Green Bay Packers and Brian Gutekunst, they love their athletes. And I mean, just look at what this guy did at the Combine. 4.38 40 at 6'4". 221 pounds. The 20-yard and 10-yard split's really good too. A really good shuttle, 41-inch vertical, and 10-foot 9-inch broad jump. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, like I said, just adding athletes into that wide receiver room, I think it would be a good call, adding 2 receivers in this draft, and getting Rasheed Rice and Bryce Ford-Wheaton, I think would be a great haul there. So at pick 139, I am going Bryce Ford-Wheaton, wide receiver out of West Virginia. All right, so we skipped the 6th round. We didn't have any picks there. We have 2 more picks in this draft, both in the 7th round. So we're kind of getting special teams guys or just depth guys in general. And Drake Thomas, I think, would be a good special team here. An 80.5 this year, an 80.0 last year, 66 tackles this year, 65 tackles the year before that. A really good run defender, 90.5. Like I said, this is going to be a special teams guy. I think he'd be really good special teams player, kind of like we saw with early on Isaiah McDuffie. And I think Isaiah McDuffie's taken that jump to be a rotational guy in the defense, and Drake Thomas could kind of take his spot as that core special teamer. So that's what I'm going to do with this pick here at pick 7, linebacker Drake Thomas out of North Carolina State. Our last pick in the draft, I'm going to go Hunter Lupke. I do this a lot. I like him in the 7th round. I mean, it just feels Green Bay Packers to get this guy in the building. Be your H-back. Hell, even use him at tight end in the goal line situations. Use him as a running back in goal line situations if you really want to. An 88.8 grade in 2022, a 92.2 grade in 2021. He had 628 rushing yards last year and 543 the year before that. 9 touchdowns last year, 8 touchdowns the year before that. I think it would be a fun 7th round pick. And again, another special teamer, but he could play H-back for you. He could even play running back for you in a pinch. So with our last pick in this mock draft, we are going Hunter Lupke, fullback out of North Dakota State. All right, so that does it for this Green Bay Packers 7-round mock draft post-combine with an Aaron Rodgers trade to the New York Jets. Obviously, that's all we've been hearing this week, so I wanted to kind of give you guys a mock draft to maybe show you what that may look like. So we traded Aaron Rodgers and our 3rd round for their 1st, their 3rd, and next year's 2nd. Again, we don't know what the compensation would be. That's what I put it as. Our first pick at pick 13 with the New York Jets pick, we selected Brian Branch. I like the thought of him in this defense as a slot guy, as a box safety, wherever you want to put him. Jack of all trades type guy. I think the Packers defense needs that type of guy. Traded down with the Jaguars here, drafted Nolan Smith at pick 24. I think this is a steal at pick 24. I think he will go before pick 24 with that combine he had. His combine results look like a wide receiver, as I said earlier. Double dip on the Georgia here at pick 45 in the 2nd round, going Darnell, Washington. There's not much more to say about this guy. Did really well in the combine. He's a 6'8", 270-pound tight end, inline tight end. You could even use him as a big wide receiver, a really big wide receiver. I think you can use him in many different ways. It reminds me of a young Mercedes Lewis. At pick 65 in round 3, we go offense yet again with Rasheed Rice, a 6'3", really pro-ready wide receiver, possession guy. They're likely going to lose Allen Lazard if they lose Aaron Rodgers as well, so you got to get a guy like that in the building. Then at pick 74, we went with Brian Branch's teammate and safety in crime, Jordan Battle, more of the deep safety guy, another high IQ player, pro-ready player. The Packers need as many safeties as they can get, so getting Jordan Battle and Brian Branch I think would be awesome. KJ Henry at 104, again, can never have enough pass rushers to go after the quarterback. Getting him and Nolan Smith I think would be awesome. Those 4 guys added to that defense I think would be absolutely terrific. Not to mention the next guy, Moro Ojomo. I think he's a great fit for this Packers defense. 3-4 defensive end, could play 0 tech to stop the run or whatever. Could play 0 or 3 tech. I think he just fits really well. Really good run defender. Deuce Vaughn at 127, a real nice gadget guy to have, and a future at running back as well. But dude's practically a wide receiver. Like I said, Darren Sproles vibes there with Deuce Vaughn. We go Bryce Ford-Wheaton at 139. His size to speed combination is something the Packers love, and I think Brian Gutekunst will 100% be looking at. Drake Thomas for our first of 2 7th-round picks. These are both kind of special teams guys. Drake Thomas, will contribute on special teams day 1, and Hunter Lupke could contribute on offense day 1 as an H-back or even a goal line type guy as a blocker and whatnot. I think the Packers need to bring back the fullback on their offense. I mean, I'm such a huge John Kuhn fan. I mean, if you can't tell with the fat head right next to me, I wish fullback was still a very relevant thing in the NFL. And the teams that do it, I'm so jealous. So I really hope this is the case here. If in the 7th round, Lupke's on the board and the Packers draft him, I would love him on this team. So that finished out our mock draft 3.0. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you like this mock draft? Let me know down below in the comments if there was another player on the board when I was selecting and you thought, oh, you should have drafted that guy. Just let me know down below. But that about does it for this video. I appreciate every single one of you watching. Of course, all Packers news will be right here on the channel, so go click subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one. As always, go Pack Go.